So good afternoon and welcome to our Carers' Rights, Caring and Me, My Rights today. And we've got lots of colleagues on the call and lots of really good sessions during the next little while. My name is Anna Linsell and I'm ICN OD lead, and I'll be mostly in the background today supporting this session. Just a reminder in terms of housekeeping, we love to see your cameras on. The speakers will love to see your happy smiling faces, so please do keep your cameras on. But if you can put your mics off onto mute, just so that we can keep the background noise to a minimum, obviously unless you're speaking. We are recording today's session. We're recording most of the session. We're not recording the breakout rooms because we are recording the main part of the session today. And that's so that colleagues that aren't able to join us live can watch on catch up. Please use the chat function as we go through the day, either in your breakout rooms or in the main room, to share your thoughts, reflections and any questions that you may have. And as I said, you are going into breakout rooms later in the session. You won't need to do anything, and this is where we're crossing fingers, but hopefully technology will stay with us and we will be able to move you through the Ethernet into the breakout rooms and then move you back again. And we've got 2 breakout rooms with a break in between. Okay, so that's enough from me. I'm now delighted to hand over to Tracy, who is chairing this session today. To you, Tracy.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's a glamorous picture. Really appreciate you picking that one. Thank you very much. So I am, my day job is HR Director here at Northampton General Hospital, and really delighted to and honoured really to facilitate, chair the day. Hopefully lots as Anna's introduced, lots to listen to, and more importantly, lots to talk about and share when we get into those breakout rooms. And I think this is, for me, very close to my heart. A lot of people now are carers in one shape or form. Personally, I'm what's known, I think, as a sandwich generation. So I have an elderly mother who's 89, who's blind, who isn't very mobile, and definitely saw that decline through COVID, like a lot of people. And I have, because I had my children late, they still also depend on me. I'm a single parent and have to work. Probably a very familiar story, and one that's a daily challenge. And I've been very lucky over the years. I haven't always worked in the NHS. 4 years ago, I worked in private sector, and I've always had the benefit of really good bosses who are very accommodating in terms of things like flexible working and just understanding that some days could be quite difficult and challenging. And I think that's really made a difference to how I personally have juggled it. So I'm really, really excited about today and this topic, because I think it's becoming more and more kind of acutely aware that there are people out there who are trying to hold all of those challenges together. And some have good support, some have not so good experiences. And I think it's going to be really helpful to get all of this insight, all of this learning about how we can help ourselves, how we can help others, whilst we are juggling life and its everyday challenge. So really looking forward to today. So thank you, Diana and Anne, for asking me to chair today. So enough from me, and thank you for covering all the kind of hygiene factors. That's really helpful. I'm now going to hand to Nicola Best and Jackie Faulkner Best, who are going to introduce Northampton carers, who are knowledge experts in this space far more than me. So I'm going to hand to you now. Thank you.
Sorry, I've had to giggle there. It's Jackie Faulkner Blake. We obviously didn't pick up on a typo there. So
I do apologise.
No, it's not you. You read out what was on the screen. So yeah, it made me giggle. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Nicola Best and I work for Northamptonshire Carers.
And my name is Jackie Falconer Blake, and I also work for Northamptonshire Carers. And between us, we actually work on the carer-friendly employer project within Northamptonshire Carers. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about the organisation itself, particularly about carer assessments, and then about some of the services that are available. And I think it was quite funny that Tracy made the slip on the surname, because Nicola and I are like an old married couple anyway. So, if we could have our first slide, please. Okay, Northamptonshire Carers is actually a registered charity. We've been in Northamptonshire now for coming up for 30 years. We're affiliated to Carers UK and to the Carers Trust, and we have about 105 employees, I think it is now, and at the last count it was 120 volunteers, but that goes up in tens every single day. And we support unpaid carers across Northamptonshire, starting at aged about 5 and going up to 99 and beyond. We have had a carer who was 100, I believe. Next slide.
We were thinner then. That was just before lockdown.
Yeah. So that's Nicola and I. We were at an event at the university, as she said, just before lockdown. And the next one.
I think, shall I wade in on this one? Because I think what we find most of the time is that people don't know who carers are, and they don't realise they're carers. So, these are very key questions, and people, once they do say that they're a carer, they feel quite isolated, often feel quite isolated. So our project is about, or it began as trying to support employers. We were one of the first 9 local authorities picked as a pilot with Sky, supporting carers in care in excellence, and Department of Health and DWP and Government Inequalities Office way back in the day. And so we looked at helping work with employers to get them to support their workforce. NHFT was one of our first organisations that we began to work with, and we've gone on from there to be asked and very honoured to be strategic advisors to the working network at NHF, Working Carers Network.
Next slide, please. So, very simply, the definition of a carer. I'm not going to read it. These slides will be available if people want them to be sent out later. But for us at Northamptonshire Carers, it is anybody who is supporting somebody else to maintain a standard of living within their own home. And that could be anybody who's employed, and also, particularly within the health service, they could be caring from a distance. I myself have done a distance of 40 miles as well as 4,000 miles. So carers often wear many hats and have different types of caring roles. Next slide, please.
So identifying carers, many people in the workplace prefer actually to remain hidden, because they feel that it will perhaps mean they could be overlooked for promotion. It might be that they feel that it will have a negative impact on their work, or they will be seen negatively in their team as being given preferential treatment. So there's all sorts of reasons for wanting to be hidden, but employers really have a responsibility to try and create that culture where carers can be seen and feel safe to be seen and heard. Anyone can become a carer at any time. 1 in 3 of the population will be a carer at some point in their lives, and most of us on this chat will probably have had some experience of this already. The stats vary. 1 in 7 of the workforce, they say, are juggling work and caring. I would argue that probably within the health setting that we're focusing on this afternoon, it's about 1 in 5. And quite a lot of people tend to go in from being young carers and in a caring role, perhaps into the health and care professions, because that's what they know and are familiar with. So yeah, I mean, in our county, it's about 1 in 10 people. So 10th of the population looking after another 10th of the population, and quite a lot of those are what we call reciprocal carers as well. So they might well be carers for each other in a relationship or within the family. So we think supporting carers in the workforce is key, because it's such a big chunk of the population. They are probably at the peak of their careers, because most of them are probably in that 45 to 60 age bracket, or large numbers are. And that's when you've probably done the most training. You're perhaps at your peak managerially or in your career, and to lose them in the workplace is a real loss, and the cost of retraining, re-recruiting, and that loss within the organisation. So it makes financial sense as well as moral sense. Next slide, please. So the impact of caring, I mean, the impact can be on everything, really. We're going to talk about that within carer passports and with all that we do. And I know when we look at in the breakout room about young carers as well, the impact of that. It can form a huge part of somebody's identity. I'm also very lucky I can work with former carers within our organisation. And so many of those, we need to handhold them because they've lost a big chunk of their identity and their life and their role. So that's worth bearing in mind with a view to mindfulness and loss of role. Millions of the people in the UK are juggling this, and there's a latest piece of research out today which I can share later. We haven't had time to put it inside. It only came out, released by Carers UK today, but I'll make sure that that Diana has that so that we can share it. But yeah, it's a big issue. It's not going away. People's health is a big factor. Northamptonshire is one of the ageing counties in the country, so it's likely to be more and more of an issue for employers and for our population. So next slide, please. Feel free to jump in, Jackie, if I miss stuff, because you know what I'm like.
Okay.
You can do carers assessments.
I will do carers assessment. Within Northamptonshire, we carry out the local authorities' responsibility for carers assessments. Now, within the working environment, carers assessments could become quite important because a carers assessment looks at how the caring role affects somebody's life and well-being, as well as the carer's health, and many other things as well. And it's a good way of a carer getting in touch with services for the first time, because it's not judgmental. It's an opportunity for them to express the feelings and needs that they have as a carer, and how it is that the caring responsibilities are impacting on their whole life, as well as how it has an impact on work as well. And it's about trying to help them find solutions that enable them to continue to work. And one of the things that Nicola and I really do advocate is for employers, one, to have a network, and two, to enable carers to have their assessments done within the workplace, which means them giving up maybe an hour or two of the working day to have something done, rather than having to take another day off away from work, which benefits, by having it done in the workplace, benefits you and it benefits them. Next slide, please. So we are funded by, as I said, both the Northamptonshire councils, that's North and West. The assessment is it wouldn't exist without the services from some of the charitable organisations, as well as those statutory services that are in place. And we're working on ways that we can have assessments done either within the workplace, individually. Carers can be referred to Northamptonshire Carers to have their assessment. The person that they are looking after doesn't need to be receiving services from the local authority. It is totally independent of the cared for's needs, and it's about what support is available there. There's
free, no needs assessment.
Yes, definitely. So there's no needs assessment necessary. It's just they can be referred. They can refer themselves. There is, on our webpage, there are links. If you literally just type in Northamptonshire Carers into any search engine, our webpage will pop up, and then you can work your way through our webpage and find the link to carers assessments and referrals.
Jackie, there's a question in the chat. Do you want me to pick it up now?
Yes, please. Yeah? Yep.
Yeah. So Diana has asked us, is a carers assessment lengthy? How long does it take? When I was doing them, it used to take probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. to cover everything in full, because it's a dialogue, it's a chance to get to know people, to relax with people, and people to feel safe with you, to have that conversation. Some people just do it online, and can like request it online and then have a telephone conversation, so that can be much quicker. We're trying to do carers conversations so people don't wait a long time for the more pressing things, but I think about an hour and a half, would you say, Jackie? I mean, we have known longer ones.
And generally, particularly if we're asking employers to free staff up so that they can have their assessment in the workplace, we can do it twofold. So if they can only get an hour away from their desk, we'll start the conversation. We might do a little bit by email. If we need to meet up again within the workplace, then we can do that at a later date. So it is really, really flexible about how it suits both the carer and the employer if they're having it done in work time. And as an organisation, we try and do things that will suit the carers' needs, because from our point of view, they are the most important. We need to make sure that they are comfortable with what's happening and it fits in with all the other things they're trying to do.
I mean, we've offered it in people's homes, in places where people feel safe. Sometimes they don't want to speak in front of the cared for person for various reasons. They might not want to upset them. It might be that this could be a trigger to a difficult situation. So we're very flexible on that. I would say as well, if your caring role changes, you can ask for a refresh. We say that they can be redone annually. Excuse me, we're perhaps not as vigorous with time, with the workload out at the moment, that we do that. But if a carer needs that, then they can come back to us and have that tweaked. So it shouldn't be daunting. And people, I don't know whether you're coming on to it, Jackie, but people quite often say, well, what's the point of having a carer's assessment? Well, I've had people who've taken it to their employer and it has enabled a discussion that they feel perhaps quite embarrassed about, or it has supported them to getting a reasonable adjustment made within the workplace, because us having been involved has been seen as a supporting expert. But sometimes it can just be an acknowledgement of your role and what you are doing and the impact of what you're doing, and a permission to actually seek some help.
Yeah. And ultimately, whatever we as support workers write on the form, the carer will always have the final sign off. So once we've had all our conversations, the carer gets a copy of that assessment. They get to sign off on it. And if they're not happy with anything, the way that we phrase something, then again, we will change that and make sure that they're happy. So it really is a co-produced document with the carer and ourselves. Next slide, please. So some of the support that's available from Northamptonshire Carers, we have a support line which runs Monday to Friday, 9 till 4, with an hour's break for the staff for lunch between 12 and 1. And it is that central point of contact. You can generally get information, advice, some guidance. It's a way of getting in touch with any member of staff. So if a carer does need to talk to a particular member of staff and hasn't got a direct contact for them, they can do it through our general number. And then on the right hand side of the screen, as you can see, some of the services, and this is by no means an exhaustive list. Nicola and I went through this list the other day and it was like, we need to add this and we need to add that. And we decided it would be overload if we had it all on there. But one-to-one telephone support, community companions, which is a befriending scheme that's out in the community, staffed by volunteers. We've got carer break options, which could be either through some of the registered charities that provide breaks. We'll do signposting to that, or we do have limited facility for a caravan in Suffolk, not far from Lowestoft, where people can go and take a break alongside the person that they're caring for. As I said earlier, we are affiliated. put my teeth back in, affiliated to the Carers Trust and Carers UK, and of course there is within that Employers for Carers, which is a professional service that's we're looking hopefully to bring back into the county quite soon. Next slide, please. So I think our key message is that anybody can be a carer. Caring can be challenging. There is a support available out there, and just because you are not living with having hands-on care or giving hands-on care, the distance can have an impact on you as well, and we're open to talking to anybody who does any form of unpaid care. Next slide, please. Our contact details, as I said, our website is www.northamptonshire-carers.org, and then on our webpage there's all sorts of information, and it's constantly being updated.
I've put the Carers Rights Day link into the chat for people, if they, and then that can take them through. You can look for all sorts of other things on there if you'd like.
Thank you. And I think, if I remember rightly, our last slide is just saying thank you and an opportunity for questions. But I will just check with Diana how we're doing for time and whether or not we do have time for questions.
So thank you both. Firstly, I think a lot of information there. And when we get into the breakout sessions or the listening booths, as Diana's branded them, which is great word, you do break down some components of that, don't you, in terms of more information. But I certainly think you know, my kind of reference to being a carer, just agreeing with yourself that it's okay to consider yourself in that category, because there's so many different types, aren't there? And there is a lot of information out there. Knowing where to go for it is probably a challenge for a lot of people, I guess.
Definitely.
We are going to play a video now to bring some of this to life. I don't want to stop questions, but what I thought might be helpful is if we go to the next video, because I think that kind of brings some examples of carers to life for people, and we can get to the listening booths, and you will get an opportunity to go to one, and then we'll bring you back and there'll be another one, and there will be time for questions. Okay. If everybody's okay with that, because I think it's almost building a picture in your head, getting a bit of information, and then you can kind of think about what questions you want to ask, but really helpful. And just good to know that there are people to go to if people are wanting to know more or struggling. I think I will be calling, actually, because it's really prompted a couple of thoughts that I haven't covered. So thank you.
That's good.
So we're now going to go to a video, and we'll then bring you back for 10 minutes, and I'll hand to Diana to play that. Am I pushing it on here, Diana, or is that being taken care of?
I'll do that, Tracy.
Thank you, Anne.
If somebody can just give me a thumbs up that they can hear it. I have clicked the box, but I never trust it, so bear with.
Today we're at Nationwide Admin Centre in Northampton, talking to two of their network members, Nina Patel and Becky Hughes. So thank you very much for joining me today, ladies. And what we'd like to do is just have a brief overview from each of you of your caring role, and then we'll talk about how your caring role impacted on you during work, before joining the network, how the network has helped you, and how things have changed since then. So I don't know which one wants to start first, but Nina, we'll go with you. Okay. So if you want to tell me a little bit about your caring role, first of all.
Yeah, so I help care for my brother, who suffers from a very rare bone condition, and also my elderly parents. So they live really local to where I am, so across the road. So I help look after the three of them.
Okay, and how had your caring role impacted on work before you actually joined the network?
So with the condition that my brother has, he suffers from flare-ups, and they are irregular.
Okay.
So appointments and things like that, due to the nature of his condition, means that he needs 3 or 4 people to help him on and off his specially adapted van to take him to something simple like an appointment. His mobility is very limited, and I just didn't know about the resources that were available to us as a family to help support and keep him in the home where he wants to be.
Okay, so before joining the network, were you using things like your annual leave to do appointments?
I used to regularly use my holidays, yes,
Yeah.
because the awareness wasn't there.
Okay, so you then heard about the network here at Nationwide, and you joined that. And how has that helped you since joining the network?
So the first thing I would say, the Carer's Passport has been a lifeline for me to just document my situation and how it's ever changing, as well as knowing that there is carer's leave available to me over the course of the year, and I can split that up into hours if that was necessary.
So that's, from what I understand, the Northampton Admin Centre was actually instrumental in nationally providing 5 extra days leave for all carers with passports.
Yeah.
So now, because of something that started here in Northampton, everybody in the organisation gets that. So that's the leave. So you're not having to take your leave now, your annual leave.
No.
You're actually using part of this extra day's leave. So that's great.
Yeah.
Improvements in your caring role since joining the network. So have things improved for you personally?
For sure, definitely. So just understanding some of the support available in terms of whether it's so for my parent, they're struggling with their mobility and getting up and down the stairs, for example. So just having something simple like a stair lift, invest in just having a look into putting a stair lift so that they can still continue to live in that home, has been just life-changing. Just knowing that people can come and assess your home, and something simple like for my mum struggling to get out of bed because of her sciatica is now a lot easier. But yeah, without understanding what is available out there, and I have to say the Northampton Carers Association have just been so incredibly helpful. Every time I've called them or needed their support, they've always been there and they never judge.
Okay, thank you. Becky, very much the same sort of questions to you. Tell us a little bit about your caring role.
I think my caring role really took a change about 2 years ago. So my eldest daughter, she's 16 now, but since she started senior school, she struggled with a lot of anxiety, a lot of mental health problems, and just over 2 years ago now, she started to say things to me like the floor was moving, rippling, and she was getting a lot of tunnel vision, sometimes double vision, and to be honest, I honestly thought that she was having panic attacks, and it wasn't until I took her to the opticians that they flagged up that actually her optic discs are swollen.
Okay.
And then lots and lots of appointments later, she was diagnosed with a rare chronic illness called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, which affects only 60 children each year in the UK.
Wow.
And it basically means she has too much spinal fluid in her head, and then it just builds up that pressure, and there's a risk of going blind. But equally, it comes with a whole host of nasty symptoms: neurofatigue, memory loss, balance issues,
Okay.
lack of appetite, and like I say, she was getting lots and lots of visual disturbances in a day where sometimes she would go blind. And they were just some of the things, and of course it affected her mental health, and then we had to have lots of appointments, lots of medication. It affected every single day. Like my life for the last 2 years. I would say I live it hour by hour, every single day.
And what impact did that have on you at work?
I think initially, like a lot of us, you just try to juggle all those balls. You don't want to be a nuisance. You don't want anyone to judge you. You don't want anyone to think that maybe you're making a big fuss over something. So you almost end up, as a detriment to yourself, drowning a little bit because you're trying to be all things to all men, you know.
And how did you find out about the Working Carers Network?
Well, I am quite involved in, I don't know, being a champion to all things network and well-being and anything like that. So I knew quite quickly about the Carers Network, and I think it was almost a case of just that realization that this now applies to me.
Right.
I think as a mother, we all care for our children, so we, you know, there was that point of, when does it go from I'm just being a mother to actually I'm like a carer here at this point?
And that's a very difficult point, isn't it? Because most carers don't identify as being carers.
Yeah.
So to actually have that realization, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm one of these people. I now need that help.
Yeah.
And working with an organisation like Nationwide that does have a huge understanding for carers must have made you feel quite confident that realising you're a carer is not going to make a difference to your working environment.
Yeah, it did. True? And I was quite lucky because I'd previously worked on a team with a colleague who had joined the network. I think, again, had such brilliant experiences with it that was another reason why I was aware of the network. And when I reached out to the network and joined, I felt confident that things would become easier, and it just allowed me to have those conversations, not just with my manager, but with my team, with my peers, with my senior managers, with my whole community, basically, to say, you know, things have really changed for me, and this is the situation.
Okay. And obviously joining the network made a huge difference to you here at work. Have there been improvements to your own well-being as a result of joining the network and the work environment?
I think it's that deep breath, that I'm safe.
That's a great description.
It is, though. That's exactly what it is. It's like I've been trying to struggle for so long, and now I've reached out, become a carer. I've accepted that I am a carer, and I've informed everyone around me, and I know what support there is. And I think previous to that, there was perhaps a bit of guilt involved about maybe leaving the team sometimes if I had an appointment or we were in hospital. But now, as a recognised carer, I don't feel that anymore.
That's fantastic. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing some of your story and how a network has helped both improve your well-being and also your comfort levels within the work environment. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add before we wrap this up?
I just feel that very lucky to work for an organisation that genuinely cares for the well-being of the staff that they employ. Honestly, it makes such a difference to our mental, emotional, our overall well-being, knowing that if we're having a down day, there's somebody out there that will listen to you in confidence and without judgment. It makes such a difference.
That's so true. What about you, Becky? Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think it's just that security of knowing that people understand you, people want to understand you. They might not be able to perhaps identify with the situation you're in, but they want to understand and they want to be there to support you. And, you know, compared to my husband's work, I've been so lucky that I've had arms wrapped around me. So
wonderful. Thank you very much indeed, ladies.
Thank you. Well, that's really insightful. And the thing that stuck in my brain was most carers don't identify as carers. And there is, as Diana said it in the chat there, great to see an organisation embracing that, because the world is continuing to change, to evolve. And if you're looking at retaining staff, motivating staff, then you can't ignore this space, can you? And clearly, I love also the network gave her that time to take a deep breath, which really resonated. So really helpful video to bring that to life. Whilst I've got whilst we're on that, Nicola and Jackie, is that material that organisations can use and share, or is that specific to just out of interest? Because I think a video like that really helps you bring that to life.
When I recorded it with the ladies, I did ask their permission if we could share it. It was recorded specifically for here. I did ask if they were happy for us to put it up on social media, and they were. So I'm going to take a flyer and say, yeah, if anybody would like a copy of that, I can let you have the link, because it's up on YouTube, but it's not available for everyone to see. You will need the link for that. So yeah, if anybody wants to share that, then I'm quite happy to share the link with you for that.
Jackie, do we just need to check with Nationwide management about that? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot. Just find out and let us know.
No, I wasn't involved. I mean, Jackie was there, so
yeah. Well, I can ask the question, but from the ladies' point of view, they're happy. Yeah, we will just go back and check with management on that one.
I thought they were good examples, because kind of ends of the spectrum, aren't they, in terms of the diversity in those scenarios. But thank you, really, really helpful bringing it to life. So we're going to move into the next session. You will get your opportunity to ask questions, and I'm going to ask Diana to help me if there's anything in the chat that we might need to come back to. I'm sure there will be. Diana's comment herself, great to see a large local organisation like Nationwide looking after their staff. Absolutely powerful. Just wondering if there's a difference between how male employees are treated to female, picking up on Becky's comment there. So yes, we can come back to maybe talking about that at the end. So I am going to hand the technology piece. You wouldn't want that in my hands in a moment, but my understanding is there are four listing booths that you're going to be transported to, I believe. The magic of Teams is going to do that. So things around this thing called Carers Passport, what do you need to have in that? What is it? How can it help you? Very topical, of course, caring in the cost of living crisis, because we are all very aware of that, aren't we? Support for your mental health as a carer, who cares for the carer, a very important piece, and support for young carers. So, and you will get an opportunity to go into two. So you will go into one now. We will then, for 15 minutes, we'll then bring you back for the break. During the break, whilst if we need to take a natural break, then I would urge you to try and make time, because during the break, there's more information. There's the two films. One is the Carers Choir, and one is Northamptonshire Carers Film. So more information there. We'll then put you back into a different group, so you get opportunity for more than one, and then we'll get into questions. So who am I handing to do the kind of magic and move people into their group?
Okay, Louise behind the scenes has done all the magic, so I'm really crossing everything that Teams hangs on in there this afternoon. So what will happen is you will just get pulled into the breakout groups that you've been assigned to, and the presenters will be in there, and they'll be sharing. Sorry, the dogs decided to get involved now, so they'll be sharing their presentations and their stories. So Louise, if you can do the magic, please, and press go, and we will give you a halfway through warning in the breakout rooms, and we will let you know when they're about to close as well, because it can be quite sudden. And people can often get cut off mid-sentence. But yeah, if we can press go on the breakout rooms, and you should start disappearing into them.
So I'm conscious that I'm being not the best chair because we are 5 minutes. I make it 5 minutes behind, and I'm sure if you're anything like our group, we have lots of really quality information and perhaps some burgeoning questions. If I can ask you to save those for the moment, I think we are now going to a 10-minute break where there will be a film playing, but feel free to do whatever's necessary within the 10 minutes. If I can ask you to be back just before 2:10, is that right? Because then we'll go into another group where we'll hear more information and then we can get into some conversation. Is that okay?
Thank you.
I'll hand somebody to play the film. Thank you, Anne.
Again, can somebody just give me a thumbs up they can hear it when it starts playing? Yeah.
As an employee and carer, I feel I have much to offer others.
It's an honour and a privilege to help so many families. Thank you.
Where I work is fun, supportive and nurturing. I love my job.
I am listened to because of who I am, not what it is believed I stand for.
My contribution as a gay man is valid and supported.
I am continuously encouraged and empowered to have a voice. I feel visible, valued and validated.
I have always known of Northamptonshire carers, but when you get the chance to join them, you really have struck gold.
Just to listen is an important part of what we do.
As a disabled Asian person, I'd like to think my involvement and engagement is valued, but there is a long way to go in making a real difference.
For the first time I'm listened to, my opinion is respected.
Not all angels have wings.
I'm appreciated for my efforts and I'm encouraged to do better.
Northamptonshire carers મારા મિત્રો મને અને સમુદાયને જોડાવામાં મદદરૂપ બની રહે છે.
Northamptonshire Carer is an important organisation which helps us to connect with friends and community.
I can bring my whole self to work and be celebrated.
I'm not defined by one identity. I have many.
It is the first place of being genuinely accepted for who I am.
To care for somebody, young or old, is the duty. It's culturally ingrained.
Not all disabilities are visible, and as someone who has a visual impairment and doesn't drive, it's so nice and appreciated that colleagues offer to give me lifts, even if I am sometimes too proud to ask.
I enjoy being able to make a practical difference to the carers and their loved ones.
To have hope is a good thing for the carer and the cared for.
Freedom and flexibility around my hours and my caring role. Who would allow me to do that?
We talk about race inequalities openly to improve ourselves and our services.
Being a carer broadens your vision, widens your awareness and deepens your compassion.
Everyone offers encouragement and inspires you to be you. Comfortable, confident and courageous.
I was a carer. The flexibility given to me enabled me to continue working. I will always be grateful.
The staff are like a family, all different,
but connected.
Apologies. Bit of internet lag here. Get it moving again. Really amazing videos.
If you're anything like me, any kind of choir always brings emotion. I was really trying to hold it together there. Really wonderful. Lovely to see all those people together and connect.
Gives me goosebumps.
All those people in a room connecting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All different ages, all different, you know, gives you hope.
Absolutely.
We usually get a chance to do something similar at our prom, which is our major fundraiser at the end of Carers Week. But obviously the last 2 or 3 years we've not been able to. But yeah, it's
Right.
a celebration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I think as an organisation, we've been really lucky, particularly with the first video, which was recorded and produced by a young carer, one of our former young carers who took time out. She's gone into video production and all that kind of stuff. And she took time out of her working week to come and work with us to produce that. So supporting carers, even the young ones, and helping them through their transitions, enable them to go on and have amazing careers. That young lady has got so much talent, and going forward she'll have an amazing career as well, I'm sure. So
thank you so much for sharing that. Some amazing people, right, who just still give, even though they're giving all the time. It's just really, really just amazing. Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Nicola, remind me, am I right in saying that the words for the song were written by yet another carer?
Yeah. She's now looking after her husband whose health is deteriorating. But yes, and then they were put to music by one of our very talented members of staff, son-in-law.
Son-in-law,
yeah.
Wow, incredible, and original as well, blimey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we're now going to
Jackie,
go
are you
into our
okay
second group.
for us? Sorry, are you okay for us to share the links to the videos in the
Yes.
chat?
Yeah, those two links that I've shared on our YouTube page are up there for the world to see and to share. There's also a Christmas song. We debated whether or not to use that one, and we decided that November may be a little bit too early for some people to think about that one, so we opted against it. But yeah, we've got that one on there as well. So yeah, go to our YouTube.
But if anyone wants to watch it, sorry, talking over you, Jackie, but if anyone wants to watch it, we are putting our Christmas carols and all of these in our Advent calendar, which will launch on December the 1st, with Mark talking about things that we're doing and have done, and hopefully things that will help and get people through some difficult times.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. Okay, so we're now going to all be moved into our second group, and then we will bring you back after that when Nicola will be facilitating some questions. So
welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
I still can't get
Welcome back.
It is like being in a TARDIS. I'm convinced it's amazing how everybody just gets pulled back. So thank you.
Always talked about the magic of television. Now we have the magic of Teams technology.
We do. So thank you,
Tracy
everybody.
talked about Doctor Who. It's very like
I did, and the TARDIS. That's what it felt like. So I don't know about you, but I found that I've got so many thoughts going around my head. I really want some more discussion and thought, but I'm going to hand to Nicola now, because I believe we are bringing, sadly, the session to a close with some input from everybody. Am I right? Am I handing to you? Sorry, I'm looking. I've got two screens. This is this new technology I was talking about. So if I'm not looking at you, I'm trying to. I'll hand to you.
Well, I'm hoping Anne will do the technical magic, and then I think I'm just talking to it. So I apologise now. I don't understand how this works. It's magic. So what did you learn from your sessions today? Now, my understanding is you can just type in. It's like a whiteboard. So do we just type away, I guess? Thanks, Anne. Sorry, I don't know.
I'm struggling to know which meeting I'm in and whether we've used Slido already today, but I don't think we have. So if you hold your phone camera up to the QR code on the screen, that will take you through to Slido. And the first question that's in there is, what have you learned? What did you learn from your sessions today? If you can't, if your phone doesn't work, you can go to slido.com on any device and put the code in, and that will also take you to the Slido. Or alternatively, I'm just going to ask my colleague Louise if she'll very kindly stick the link into the chat as well. So there's 3 ways to join Slido, and it will, and I can see 3 colleagues are on just putting their questions in. So it may take a few seconds. You only have to join it once. The next questions will appear as if by magic on your device.
I mean, I've got a QR. Oh, yeah. I don't know why you've got the number. I've tried mine.
Okay.
I don't know why there's a number.
I will confess that was me not reading the screen properly.
That's all right.
Okay, I thought I'd done it.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be the one who knows all about technology as well, so my apologies.
So yeah, so we're already getting some reasonable. I mean, 14, 11, 482 is a really good point, Jackie. Love that. Okay, so yeah, so the help is available, thought-provoking, very helpful. Crisis. I hope it's given people an avenue of where to go in a crisis and some information. Services provided by accommodation support. Yeah, I didn't hear that, but I'd like to hear all of that. We're getting more coming in. So informative. The carers webinar with IAPT. Yes, I think that's got some amazing stuff. So I think we're probably getting most of those. I don't know how many are on the chat, but it looks like we're probably getting most of those. Oh no, we're getting more.
Yeah, so one more person was typing.
Okay, thanks, Anne. So yeah, valuable. So that's brilliant. Instigate. I'm interested by instigate. Does that mean people are going to go away and instigate some change as a result of what they've heard today? One hopes. And help is available. Yeah, I do. Help is available. I think for me, that is very powerful. So yeah, I think and local. You know, obviously we've talked about stuff that is local to Northamptonshire. So, but also that information we can use for other people that we're in contact with who perhaps are carers for other parts of in other parts of the country and abroad. Jackie talked about 4,000 miles. You know, we're talking about we've got staff in the trust that come from all over the world. So yeah, so I think that's probably enough for what did you learn from your sessions today? Do we have another few questions? So how has today's event left you feeling?
Oops, oh, sorry, operator error. There we go.
So do we have to do our QR code again?
No, you don't need to. No. It should just appear on your screen. I don't know why it keeps flicking off, but it should just appear on your screen.
Mine hasn't.
Oh, it's going very funny today. I'm not touching anything.
Right, mine hasn't come up with a new question. So I'm going to scan it again, I think. I've got a QR code scanner. It won't work with my camera. Also, we've got percentages. Right, I'm trying to go with my QR code. So 50% really smiley face. And 30%. See, I can understand the 10. I mean, hopefully the 15, they're growing, they're changing all the time. So we'll give it a couple more minutes before we start.
Yeah, it's live results, Nicola. So
yeah, it's wonderful.
In the moment.
I know how they feel on Eurovision and stuff now. It's better than the clapometer that we used to have on Opportunity Knocks, isn't it? Or am I showing my age?
This is where patient comes in, Nicola.
I know, I'm not very patient. I mean, I think, you know, we've got 64% who are in the smiling face, 73%. So I think that's absolutely brilliant because that means that people have found information and they're happy with what they received. I think realistically, the 7%, I'm guessing, is because actually there's some happy, sad moments with the information that we've shared and talked about today. But hopefully there are some things that you can take away from today that will help. So thank you for doing that one. I think so. Yes, please. So what benefits would you see from having an Integrated Care Northamptonshire staff working carers network? Have people have a think about this first.
You seeing that, Nicola?
I do love this magic. Yes, yes. No, I'm just keeping quiet whilst people put their things in because I've already been told I'm too impatient. So 4 for support. Yeah, I am very impatient though. Knowledge. Yeah, and that's an important thing. I think wide range of viewpoints because no one size fits all. I think we learned that very many years ago, didn't we, Jackie?
Definitely.
We were told to develop a pack that would work with every employer. Well, we were laughed out of court virtually. It didn't work that way. So wide range of viewpoints, peer and professional support, shared experiences, more knowledge, buddy system for carers. That's an interesting one. Okay, so very similar, I think. Yeah, I'll put it on one. Yeah.
Question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just conscious a couple of people are typing.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, they've come through. Right, I'll go to the last question.
Yeah, no, recognition of diversity. I think that's a very important one to pick up. Thank you. Are there any subjects that you would like more information about? Passport, yeah. There is information on the NHFT web page, is my understanding. But if anyone wants additional information, I've shared some links in the chat, but please do get in touch with myself and Jackie. Yeah, young carers. I was saying it's a shame really that young carers and young adult carers wasn't in the wider group, because it is so powerful and so useful to be aware of.
There was some great stuff come out of that session.
Yeah.
I was in that session, and there were things that, having worked for the organisation for so long, I just didn't even contemplate, like school holidays, where some young carers are taking up that parental type role. They struggle with the same things about what to do with the children during and their siblings during holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether Annie and Kat could perhaps share something that we could share out to participants. But yeah, how to set up a staff network. We already have one in NHFT. What I would put a plea out for is that Lisa could do with some help. So if anyone feels that they can help with this, then please get in touch with her or myself and Jackie and people on the working network committee. Activities carers can do together. Yeah, the peer support is so powerful. Respite. Yeah, so there's all sorts of things. So I don't know quite. We'll have to have a think about this, I guess, Diana, Lisa, Jackie, and how we share some information about some of these. Presumably, Anne, we'll have a list that we can keep of these, will we?
Yeah, we can we'll download all the responses, and you can have. I'll share those with you shortly, and you can have a look at them.
Yeah. So we can see what can come out. Mediation with managers. I mean, again, Lisa now has an open door to some more new managers that have come forward. But then Lisa can't do it all on her own. So it's a case of we need to think about that going forward. Carers Northampton can use local volunteer groups such as Larders and Good Neighbours scheme to help people self-identify as carers. I don't know anything about that. Larders, sorry, I'm being a printed lively questionnaire would be good. Who I don't know who's put that in, but if they can explain what Larders is, that would be amazing.
Right, sorry, community Larders. Such as the ones being run by the Hope Centre. Food is separate, and then there's Food for Thought in Daventry that are running several, but it's your sort of your target market as they sit waiting in the queue and things. So we're putting things out for them to read, and if it was like engaging, they'll answer these questions and turn over your personality type and go, did you realise you're a carer, or whatever you might.
Rachel, if you would be kind enough to drop your email into the chat for us.
I can't quite work out how to do that on Teams, but I'm very.
Don't worry. Can you email? Can you see emails on Teams? We'll put our email in, and you can send it across to us.
I can reply to whoever sent me a nice invite. Would that help?
Okay, what we'll do is, in the background, with the help of Anne and Louise, we will try and catch up with you.
Lovely.
Because that would be really great if we could do something along those lines.
No, definitely. I think it's also worth saying, thanks for doing the Slido, Anne. I mean, I think there's some really useful stuff that will then shape our next meeting, where we get together with the working staff network, where we think about where we go with this, because obviously we've got these comments and we want to take that forward so that we can use co-production as much as we can, because these are your comments, this is your information. I was just going to say as well, on the food larders, we were lucky enough to go along to the Sikh Community Centre a few weeks ago, and we were amazed. They do food for people, so they offer food, so they don't turn people away. It's part of their culture and part of their activity at the Sikh Community Centre up near Franklin's Gardens. So that's, again, that there are these places. We've actually got on our website what they call warm hubs, where people can go for food, and we're sharing those as one of our baubles as well for the Advent calendar, so that people can get food and stay warm in difficult times. And it might be just because you're working, it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't need those.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Nicola and Jackie. I think you've just tip of the iceberg, and I think we would all love more conversation. And just to confirm for everybody, we will be sharing the recordings. Obviously, there's a lot of information here you can access, so thank you very much. I think it's been, my brain can't stop going. There's so much conversation I want to have about this, because it's such an important thing, isn't it, for our workplaces, for community, for society, because it's a reality. Clearly it's a reality, and I think I only understood my kind of side of it. So thank you so much. It's been, I hope you all really feel, and I think you can tell everybody was really engaged with that. They've stayed with it, and we've run over. So that's always a good sign. But I've just been the chair today. I'm going to hand to Anne or Diana, for anything you want to say, because you're the ones who pulled this together, not me. All I've done is, oh, Jackie, sorry, do you want to come in?
I was just going to say, Tracy, if you do want to reach out to Nicola and I, then please do feel free to do so. And that's open to everybody. If you're thinking about setting up a network in your particular area of employment, then we are here as consultants to support you to do that for your staff. And we can be contacted through Diana or Anne.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Diana, Anne, any final words from you? Because you are the guys who did all the work here, not me.
I'm going to let Diana say something because this is Diana's baby.
Absolutely.
Well, there is an old saying, an old African verb, I am because you are. That really means that not one person can take credit to support another person. A village can raise a child. We together can support each other as working carers. It was really important for Integrated Care Northamptonshire to put this event on for you, because we acknowledge the difficult and critical times that we all face at the moment. And this more time than ever in living history for some people, that we need to pull together as a workforce, as a team, as peer supports, and support each other through this critical time. So thank you for attending today, and thank you for being interactive with the session. I'd like to thank Northamptonshire Carers and also the facilitators today from Peter Robinson, the IAC team as well, for being here today to support our working carers. It's really important that you did that, and thank you for responding to that. As usual, Northamptonshire carers have been marvellous in what they have delivered today. And the NHFT staff network lead, Lisa, thank you for helping us to put this together. But above all, I just want to say a huge thank you to Anne Linsell and her team. By magic, today, she helped us to pull this together to ensure that we can do this virtual meeting for you today. And this is all for you. And thank you, Anne, for your continuing support for our working carers. And remember that Anne herself was a working carer, so she knows how important this event was today. So without further ado, I'd just like to say, I hope your day goes well and your weekend goes well. But don't just forget everything you've learnt today. There is help on hand for you and the support. So please contact any of us that were facilitating today so that we can support you. Because remember Ubuntu, we are because you are, and we are here to help. Thank you.